Well, happy Thursday. Welcome to ATI Pro Media. We're powered by Advanced Trading. Markets moving lower again. Looks like we're catching some rains in Argentina. We got the cattle market pulling back pretty good. We'll have Brady talk about that. But with that, we do have some headlights. Most of them are, it just happens. We build the show beginning of this morning, yesterday evening. A lot of export news, right? China has delayed a good chunk of wheat imports. Looking back on 2024, grain exports, oilseed exports, they look pretty good even with the absence of China. So I guess good to see, right? We'll take it. And with that, let's make sure we're looking at weekly export sales, checking in on that, right? We like to look at those about every week. And with that, as always, whatever you want to talk about, drop a question. We'd love to talk about it. But with that, Brady, go ahead and quote us up on the markets. Give us a rundown real quick, and we'll jump into the show.
Real quick. It's not what we want to hear today
That's
on a
right.
Thursday, but we'll have to quote them up anyway. I'd love to skip it. March corn down 4.5, 488 3/4. March beans also down 4.5, 1052.5. Oil's a little bit weaker. Meals down 340. Chicago wheat's down 0.5 cent at 571 3/4. March KC wheat up 0.5 cent, 592 1/4. July KC wheat up 1/4 cent, 611 on July KC wheat. Over in your cattle market, that's where the real bleeding starts. Looks like March feeders are down 610, April down 632, live cattle down 350, down 492 on the April contract. Lean hogs down 40 points. Looking over your crude market, up 18 points. Diesel is relatively unchanged. Nat gas down a nickel. In your equities, the Dow is up 5, the S&P up 8, and the NASDAQ up 10. That's kind of it for your markets here. So not a great day on the cattle side of things, nor on the grains, Connor B.
No, definite red day. As always, we'll see. We'll see how the day ends. Time will tell. But it would have been nice to see a bounce. We saw soybeans really take it on the chin yesterday, right? Seeing a little bit better precipitation in Argentina, I think, was the main fuel there. But as always, time will tell.
A little continuation of that downward slide here today. Joe was saying on the cattle market before we started the show, he said, this cattle market's taking one step forward and 2 or 3 steps back. But that was a good way to put it. It definitely felt like we had a one step forward moment yesterday, but we're back to taking the shuffle back here today. Feeder cattle limits, I think they're at $9, Connor. So down 6.5. Could be a wild day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's jump in the headlines.
Okay.
Right, the first one I have is announcement that China has delayed or redirected 600,000 tons of wheat imports. So reported from Reuters, mostly Australian wheat, 600,000 tons, and has offered cargoes to other buyers on ample domestic supplies. And so looking at the top buyer of the grain of Australian wheat is looking like they have enough. So, China accounted for 6% of global wheat imports in the year in 2024. And so, Reuters is reporting the lower intake may pressure benchmark Chicago wheat prices, which remain below $6 a bushel after falling to a 4-year low of $5.14 in July.
Interesting.
So, keep moving right along. China imported 1.7 million tons of wheat from Australia, down from 2.5 million tons in the same period a year earlier. So, it's I don't know. It's just a headline that says I think they have enough wheat and they're not looking to buy any more for the time being. So,
yeah, lots of questions on demand there. In Australia, I think they have much bigger crop than they did a year ago too. So interesting headline. Supply, demand, all of it's got to balance out. Definitely, Connor.
Yep. So speaking of that, I got a lot of export headlines. I didn't mean to do that, but another good one is that U.S. grain and oilseed exports surge in 2024, even with the absence of China. So by volume, U.S. bulk ag exports in 2024 surged 22% on the year, the biggest annual rise in a decade. Mexico and Colombia smashed records, rising 29% and 20% above the previous highs, respectively. So, looking at this chart is just, 2023 was not a good year for ag exports, and we really see it bounce back. And so I think we got to look at it by volume, because if you look at it by dollar value, right, with the lower commodity prices, I think we actually still were lower than 2023. Just with corn, soybeans, wheat, everything lower
Gotcha. Okay.
price, but overall commodity were up on the year even without China. So here's a good stat on that as well. Is China was narrowly the largest destination for U.S. bulk exports. So even with them being down, they're still number one. But they accounted for 24% total, though the volume was down 5% on the year. This marked a 5-year low, but excluding trade war years, it was an 11-year low in terms of what's being bought, of what China is buying in terms of U.S. ag bulk ag goods.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, right. I think it's good to see other markets, right? We want to be diversified, right? We don't want to have all our eggs in one basket in terms of going to China. So it's good to see other countries, Colombia, of course,
Yeah.
Mexico. It's good to see. I saw like the United Kingdom was had a record, multiple ones like that. So hey, it's good to see, right? We'll take the win.
Definitely. Yep. Speaking of exports on the week, it's a good day to talk about exports, Connor. It's because today we get the weekly exports. I'm gonna throw up a snapshot of that here, and we can talk about this a little bit. But corn having a heck of a week here. 58.2 million bushels on the weekly exports last week. Look at that outstanding sales column, 885.1 versus 702 last year. So continue to exceed that pace here. And the expected range for the last week's weekly exports was 33 to 59 million bushels, so very near the top end of that on the weekly volume there.
Yep, it looks like we're up 9% from last week and 32% from the prior 4-week average. So corn export sales continue to shine. Soybeans, not so much. Kind of on the low end of the range, aren't we?
Definitely, yeah. 14.2 million bushels with an expected range of 11 to 40. So definitely on the low end there. And then that OS category there, outstanding sales 326.1 versus 349.2. So sagging back, trailing last year's pace as well.
Yeah, it looks like that's a 40%, down 40% from the prior 4-week average. So, yeah, pretty good weakness. But
yeah, not as weak as sorghum though. Look over there at that sorghum category, 0.26, better than last week. Nothing, goose eggs on last week's on the Milo front. And then the outstanding sales category, definitely trailing last year on the sorghum side of things. Would love for typically, Connor, we get all the producers shaked out of their Milo bushels, and then China comes to buy those bushels back after the farmers already sold it and gave up on that basis ever coming together.
I like it. You always are good about looking at the sorghum. I got to tell you, I glossed right over it. Right, sorghum's not a whole lot of sorghum's grown in Central Illinois.
It's a big crop. I think Kansas is the #1 sorghum producer in the U.S., so it's a big crop out here. Definitely, yep. Mm-hmm. But it's a weed when you go up. I think into Nebraska, Iowa, into those I states. I don't think they consider it a crop. I think they consider it a weed, Connor.
Gotcha. Well, I wanted to do a quick check-in on. We had the drought monitor release, but I didn't pull it in because it's February 6th. We're not too worried about the any type of drought monitor in the United States. At least I'm not. But we do need to check in on South America, Brazil, Argentina. And so looking at this, right, future precipitation, a little bit dry on that eastern part of Brazil, but very non-threatening looking at Mato Grosso. I gotta think we could see some good soybean harvest progress, probably some good safrinha corn crop progress as well, given that forecast. And then the other one, just looking at past precipitation, you can see if you go down south, looking at Argentina catching some precipitation, and it looks like this is from T-Storm Weather, is that potential for more rain coming toward the end or next week. And
okay. So, definitely add to that sentiment slide there, maybe on these grains rolling over a little bit, maybe with some of those rains potentially.
Yep.
I loaded up that U.S. drought monitor. Whenever you're ready for it, we can throw that up.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah. Mark Tulaski sends these out, so it's great to ATI broker Mark Tulaski. And then the comparison, but his is on the left is current drought monitor, latest, and then on the right is a year ago. So looking at the change there. What stands out to me, Connor, is the northern high plains, western, that
Yes.
Panhandle, Nebraska, Dakotas, eastern Wyoming. Definitely some more drought there. Just the whole state of Dakotas and both Dakotas in general stand out to me.
Yep. Very, very much lingering in Iowa, Minnesota as well. But yeah, but as always, right, when we look at this, is this time last year we would have been looking at Iowa and saying, "Oh my gosh, they're we're really looking at a drought." Iowa had maybe not a fantastic corn crop as the USDA was nice enough to tell us in January, but they had a pretty good corn crop.
Yeah, if there's a time to be dry, January, February, those are ideal months to maybe have some dryness.
Yeah.
Yep, good stuff.
Okay.
Well, yeah, anything else we need to rattle off here, Connor B?
No, I don't think so. We've got grains trying to come back. We're bouncing off the lows, so we'll take that, right? As always, if you're looking at that, right, if you're thinking about making some decisions, old crop, new crop, give us a call, right? That's what we do. This is kind of the fun part of our job, is just talking about the headlines. But at the end of the day, we're risk managers. We want to make sure we're doing the right things for your operation. So reach out anytime, right? We'd love to talk to you.
Definitely. Yep. We'll be back tomorrow live at 9. We'll have a tweet of the week too. One of my favorite parts of the week. We'll look at some fun tweets here tomorrow.
Good stuff. Okay. Hey, everyone, have a great day.
See you, Connor.